What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, check it out, guys. This is something we've been talking about for a while now, okay? Hollywood is absolutely broken. They don't know how to Hollywood anymore. They don't know how to make money in the theaters. The theaters are absolutely struggling and suffering under this weight of bad Hollywood content that we've been getting over the last 2 to 3 to 4 years, maybe even longer. You know, it just depends on where you want to start measuring this shit from. But it's getting really, really bad to the point now that we might have the lowest Memorial Day opening in 41 years for a top film, all right? And that's going to be Furiosa. They're saying here on Deadline, Furiosa is up in smoke, $31 to $33 million. It might get clawed by Garfield. How worried should Hollywood be about theatrical? Oh, believe that. Hollywood is already worried about theatrical. They are already looking at it like, yo, theaters ain't where it's at. We might have to start shifting and doing things on streaming a little bit more, figuring out how to make money outside of these theaters, all right? We already know what happened with The Fall Guy. Yeah, just this week, The Fall Guy releases on digital 3 weeks after hitting theaters, and you can watch it online. So you got movies that are dropping in theaters. All right. The Fall Guy dropped May 3rd. This month, it dropped in theaters. Brand new film. It's already available on VOD. How is that sustainable? There is no way in the world that I'm going to go out and watch a movie that, oh, okay, in 3 weeks, it's going to be available for me to watch at home. Oh, yeah, I'll just watch it at home. You know, I was making this point on this thread. Yeah, Gary from Nerdrotic had posted this up. Hollywood fatigue, right? Talking about this same article that we were just looking at, you know, just from yesterday, from Friday's update. Yeah, Hollywood fatigue is the reason why people aren't going to theaters. People are tired of the theater experience, okay? And I had said this, prequels, sequels, remakes, reboots, spinoffs, crossovers. This is all Hollywood has to offer, creative bankruptcy, all right? And then Endymion had made this point. Why watch anything in theaters anymore? Just wait to rent. It's too expensive to go to the theater, 100%. And I was like, yeah, Fall Guy released in theaters May 3rd, and on May 21st, it's 18 days later, it's available on VOD. Hollywood is cooking its own goose. Now, this guy, Pliskin, had asked, you'd rather pay over $20 to rent it at home than spend half of that to see it on the biggest screen possible? I get where he's coming from because as a movie lover, I want to see stuff on the biggest screen possible. But think about it from a monetary standpoint. Like what Endymion is saying, you're adding in the cost of popcorn, candy, drinks, or whatever snacks you're eating, possibly parking, plus the gas to get there, add extra tickets if you're taking your spouse, date, and family. Yeah, there's no way in the world I'm going to the theaters, especially if I know it's going to be available. Oh, yeah, this thing will be available in about a month on VOD. Or maybe even, you know, a little bit later, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. Is it a big event film? Do I have to see this in theaters? You know, I could just say, okay, kids, we're going to see this at home in about a month or two. All right. So just hang out. We'll see it. Don't worry. And then when we do, hey, man, we'll have a big spread. We're bringing food. You guys can hang out, do whatever it is you want to do. We'll all have our covers and blankets sitting up in the house and just enjoying the family time at home. That's what a lot of families are choosing to do instead of going to the theaters and spending a boatload of money to watch a movie. One movie. And it may not be good. You know, like, so why, again, would I come and see this thing in the theaters? So how worried should Hollywood be about theatrical? Very worried. Absolutely worried. All right. Because look, culture, all right? It's about culture. What's going on in your culture? Is it endemic? Is it becoming endemic for us to not go to the theaters? Is that just becoming part of our culture? And if that's the case, then how soon is it going to be that Hollywood is just all the way out of our culture? You know, how soon? Like, we're already starting to slip into other ways and means of entertaining ourselves, and it has nothing to do with Hollywood. We're going to video games. You know, that's becoming a big way to entertain yourself. You got YouTube. You guys are watching YouTube. That becomes a good way of entertainment. There's other ways to entertain yourself other than going to movies or watching television shows. And the reality is that when Hollywood becomes less a part of your culture, it becomes less relevant. And soon people are just like, I don't really need Hollywood. You know, I got a whole lot of other ways to entertain myself. And I'm starting to notice my peers as well. Anime, right? If anime like keeps going the way it's going, everybody, like the younger kids are all growing up on anime. That's why Disney's trying to crack into it, because they see, yo, all of the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, these cats are going to be rocking with anime when they get into their 20s and 30s and 40s. We better get on this now. And see, that's the problem. Hollywood, they're trying to jump into these spaces, but they really don't understand them. It's just business. It's just money for these guys. Yeah, Robert Meyer Burnett had posted this up on X. And like he says, this is a brilliant point. that this guy, James Gray, is making in regards to, what happens when Hollywood is so focused on money that they're just like churning out just the safest stuff possible, right? No risks. We're not going to do anything different or unique. We're not going to do anything interesting. It's all going to be prequels, sequels, remakes, reboots, spinoffs, crossovers, all right? What happens when you get into the creative bankruptcy that we see Hollywood in? Well, you basically end up cooking your own goose, okay? That's basically what happens. Listen to what this guy has to say. It's very interesting.
When you make movies that only make a ton of money and they're only one kind of movie, you begin to get a large segment of the population out of the habit of going to the movies. And then you begin to eliminate the importance of movies culturally.
I had made this point with Dune. Right before Dune, I said it's really important that people get in the habit of going to the movie theaters, okay? You can't just say, well, we made a good film. It's like, no, you need to follow up a good film with another good film that people are like, oh man, I got to go and see this. Oh, this sounds interesting. I can't wait for this to come out, all right? And yeah, Dune is a remake. I get it. But it's important that people get in the habit of going to the theaters. If you don't get in the habit of going to the theaters are going to dry up. If it's only going to be one movie here, and then maybe in 3 or 4 months we get another movie, then people are going to just kind of check out and do other things with their entertainment time. They're going to go play the video games. They're going to watch anime. They're going to go on YouTube. They're going to find other things to do. And then those things become the cultural touchstones that everybody is related to. So it's like, oh, did you see the latest anime? Oh, wow, I didn't see that. Man, what is it about? Or, hey, did you watch this one YouTuber? I found this guy. He's awesome. He's brilliant. Or whatever. That's what ends up starting to happen culturally. Culturally, the movie theaters are kind of like a special thing, maybe for event films, but it's not something that you're going to do all the time like you used to. Ticket sales have been dropping like crazy because people are less inclined to go to the movies to watch this garbage. And because all of it is what? Prequels, sequels, remakes, reboots, spinoffs, crossovers. Stuff I've seen before. Nothing that this is interesting. This is new. This is different. This, again, it's just nothing but pop culture, all right? And pop culture is fine. It's good for what it is good for. But, again, you're not touching deep into those cultural touchstones. You're not diving deep and getting people out of their cultural malaise. You're just kind of like, well, we'll leave that for everybody else, all right? And then when some of that stuff maybe picks up like anime, oh, okay, then Disney tries to go and acquire it. But then they don't do it right. And so they just end up ruining, the experience for everybody. And then people just start slowly checking out of Disney. That's what's happening right now. I'm going to let this guy continue.
Yes. You lose, when you are so quarterly earnings, bottom line minded, you lose I think, the big brain vision to say, look, I have no problem with a comic book movie. I have seen excellent ones made. I think Tim Burton's second Batman is a beautiful movie and Michelle Pfeiffer's brilliant in it. I think what Chris Nolan does, and my friend Matt Reeves certainly did the deep dive with his Batman film. So I know that there are things that can be done in the genre. That's not an argument saying all comic book movies are terrible and they shouldn't be made. No, of course they should be made. The slate, though, the fact that it is no longer broad-based for theatrical by the studios means that they have forced a smaller and smaller and smaller segment of the population to like it.
Again, perfectly said. You don't have a broad base of content. Everything is getting narrowed down to just the here. You got superhero movies, you got some remakes and reboots of stuff from the 80s, right? You're going to reboot franchises. Furiosa is like what, the 5th Mad Max film? So you're going to just, bank on all of these franchises. And hey, look, I think if you're doing a franchise and you do something like, let's say Top Gun Maverick, where it's a sequel, but it's a sequel coming many, many years later. You're introducing this, franchise to a lot of new people, and you're doing something different with it. It's not just a remake of the same stuff over and over and over again. Or, we're just telling the same story, but we're going to use some different characters. They're going to set it in the same setting, like Furiosa, same setting, different characters and everything. And listen, I'm not saying anything bad about Furiosa. I actually saw it, thought it was okay, thought it was solid movie. But it doesn't change the fact that people are like, I've seen that. I've been there, done that. And I'm not doing it again. And I'm certainly not going to go to the theaters and pay a boatload of money to do it. I'll sit at home and watch whatever there is around. And then when Furiosa drops on VOD, and which it probably will based on these numbers, all right? Based on these numbers that we're looking at, yeah, Furiosa is probably coming to VOD before the end of June. You know, like that's just the reality of the situation. If we follow what the Fall Guy did, that's just the reality of it. And so by the end of June, we're going to have Furiosa, you know, basically on VOD. Okay, cool. Now I'll spend $25 for that. And then, hey, any of y'all didn't see Furiosa? The homies out there, any of the homies not see Furiosa? Yeah, I'm getting it on VOD. Bring over a case of beer and some pizza, and hey, we'll hang out and watch Furiosa on Saturday afternoon. I mean, why not? That's what Hollywood is doing to theaters. And you see the Fall Guy again, real easy to convince your girl, you know, instead of going out to date night at the movies, hey, let's just keep it in at the crib. You know, we'll save all of that extra bread we were going to put in the theater. We'll save that for a vacation or something. Real easy to talk your girl into that. And then you just get Fall Guy at the house, all right? You can cuddle up in the bed with your food or whatever and just watch the movie that way. That's basically what Hollywood right now is doing to itself. And as they do that, they make films and movies less culturally relevant. You know, again, big event movies, you know, the Avengers Endgame or something. Yeah, that'll be fine. But what about the Fall Guy? What about Furiosa? It's like, you know, not really. You know, we'll catch them somewhere down the line. And then guess what? All of these films, all right, the Fall Guys and the Furiosas of the world, they just stopped getting made. Because now Hollywood is just like, look, these joints don't make any money. We're not going to make these movies anymore. We're only going to give you big blockbuster popcorn entertainment. And when you do that, like this guy said previously, all right, when you do that, you're absolutely killing Hollywood. You're killing the game. You're making Hollywood less relevant. Because now I'm not looking for a big blockbuster joint every single time out. I need these little cultural touchstones, you know, or whatever, and a broader base of content. But Hollywood is like pretty much narrowing themselves to only being able to make certain types of entertainment because they only care about the bottom line. So yeah, this guy makes a great point when it comes to that. Comic book movies to a certain extent were doing that. I think they're starting to pull back from that. I think Hollywood sees this. I think they see it, but will they be able to change in time before now, hey man, culturally we're out of here. You know, a lot of people have already checked out from Hollywood. And pretty soon, it's going to get to the point where nobody's rocking with Hollywood as much as they used to. I don't think Hollywood's going to go away 100%, but it might get reduced down to maybe 50% or maybe even 25% of where it is culturally important. It's like nobody really cares. Nobody thinks Hollywood is that important anymore. We're going to get to that point if Hollywood stays on this track. So in my opinion, they got to get away from this, all right? The prequels, sequels, remakes, reboots, spinoffs, and crossovers. They got to get rid of this crap. They got to start doing things that are what? That are creative. All right. They got to do the creativity. They got to get back to doing that. Get rid of this creative bankruptcy and give us brand new content, new interesting ideas that people can start to gravitate towards. Again, we're getting it from everywhere else except Hollywood, it seems like these days. Yeah, one-offs, two-offs. All right, I get it. All right. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Yeah, sure. Great. But how many of those are being made now? How many of those are the major studios pumping out there? They're doing all of this stuff. You know, again, because it's about the bottom line. It's about making money. Yeah, they're going to find out real fast. And that maybe some of them have already found that out. That, yeah, this ain't the way to go. All right. Absolutely not. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.